Right, stick with me, because the last one on this list genuinely stopped me in my tracks. There's a machine in your kitchen that heats metal without ever getting hot itself, and once you understand how, you'll never look at cooking the same way. But we're building up to it. 10 everyday things that work in ways almost nobody understands, counting down to the cleverest of the lot. Let's get into it. We'll start gentle. A zip, you use it every day and never think about it. Here's the clever bit, the slider isn't just pulling teeth together, it's a tiny machine with a Y-shaped channel inside. As you pull up, the 2 rows of teeth are fed into that wedge and forced to interlock at a precise angle, each tooth hooking under the gap between 2 opposing teeth. Pull down and the channel splits them apart. The teeth aren't teeth at all really, they're little hooks and hollows. Whitcomb Judson patented the idea in 1893 and it barely worked. It took another 20 years to get it reliable. Now, speaking of small precise mechanisms doing invisible work, a quartz watch keeps time to within seconds a month, and it does it with a sliver of rock. Inside is a tiny quartz crystal, cut into the shape of a tuning fork and no bigger than a grain of rice. Run a voltage through it and quartz does something odd. It flexes, it's piezoelectric, and it vibrates at an incredibly stable rate, exactly 32,768 times a second. Why that number? It's 2 to the power of 15, so a simple circuit can halve it 15 times and land on precisely 1 pulse per second to tick the hands. That's the whole trick. A humming stone counted by division, and humming brings us neatly to something that hums far more violently. A thermos keeps coffee hot for hours with no power at all, and the secret is nothing, literally nothing. Between the 2 walls of the flask is a vacuum, and heat needs a medium to travel through. Conduction needs touching molecules, convection needs moving air. Take the air away and both routes just stop. The only escape left is radiation, so the inner wall is mirrored with a thin silver coating to bounce heat straight back in. James Dewar invented it in 1892 for storing liquefied gases, and never patented it. A German company did, and called it thermos. He got nothing, from holding heat in, to a machine that throws heat around a box. Your microwave doesn't heat the plate, it heats the water in your food directly. Inside is a magnetron blasting out waves at 245 GHz. Water molecules are polar, one end positive, one end negative, and that wave flips its field billions of times a second, so the molecules frantically try to flip with it, whipping back and forth. That friction is the heat. This is why a dry plate stays cool and why food heats unevenly. Waves form standing patterns of hot and cold spots, which is exactly why the turntable exists, to drag your food through them. Percy Spencer discovered it in 1945 when a chocolate bar melted in his pocket. Speaking of invisible fields doing physical work. Slam the brakes hard and your instinct is wrong. A locked skidding wheel actually grips the road less than one still rolling. ABS knows this. Sensors watch each wheel's speed, and the moment one is about to lock, a valve releases and reapplies the brake pressure up to 15 times a second, far faster than any human foot could pump. That's the juddering you feel through the pedal. It's not the car struggling, it's the computer catching each skid before it starts, keeping the tire in the sweet spot where it can still steer. Bosch put it in production cars in 1978, from stopping a car to picking a lock. Every lock on your house works on a trick you can see in a cutaway. Inside the cylinder are stacked pairs of pins, a spring, a top driver pin, and a bottom key pin, and they cross the gap between the rotating plug and the fixed housing, jamming it. The right key pushes each pin pair up to a different exact height, so every gap between them lines up perfectly along that seam, the shear line. Now nothing crosses it, and the plug turns. Lock picking is just doing that one pin at a time by feel. Linus Yale refined this design in the 1860s, and we've barely improved on it since. Now, to something you look through every day without noticing it changing. Glasses that darken in sunlight and clear indoors, and there's no electronics anywhere in them. Baked into the lens are millions of silver halide molecules, the same light-sensitive chemistry used in old photographic film. Hit them with ultraviolet light and they change shape, rearranging into a form that absorbs visible light, so the lens goes dark. Take away the UV, and the molecules relax back and the lens clears. It's fully reversible over and over. This is also why they barely work in your car. The windscreen already blocks most UV, so the trigger never arrives. A completely passive machine powered by nothing but sunlight. And now, the one I promised. Your phone screen knows exactly where your finger is, and it's not detecting pressure at all. It's detecting you. Under the glass is a grid of transparent electrodes holding a tiny electrical charge. Your body is a conductor, so when your finger gets close, it steals a little of that charge, creating a measurable dip at that exact point on the grid. The chip reads which rows and columns dropped and triangulates your fingertip to within a fraction of a millimeter, hundreds of times a second. That's why it won't work through a glove. No conductive contact, no theft of charge. From reading your finger to spinning a hard drive faster than you'd believe. Nearly, but not quite the winner. A spinning hard drive stores your data on a platter turning at 7200 RPM, and floating above it is a read-write head, flying just 3 nanometers off the surface. To put that in scale, if the platter were the size of a football pitch, the head would be skimming at head height above the grass at the speed of a jet. It never touches. It rides on a cushion of air dragged along by the spinning disc. One speck of dust is a boulder at that scale, which is why the whole thing is sealed. It's the finest mechanical tolerance in your house, and yet it's still only number 2. Here it is. The machine that heats your pan without ever getting hot itself. Under the glass is a coil of copper wire and an